how to work with a database. Generally, so most of the time, so what we are going to do is when we are automating any application, if you want to enter a data, when you want to enter data, always we are going to get the data in a Excel file, and from Excel file what we are going to do, Excel file to collection, right? From the collection we are going to give it to application. So these are the things what we are going to do, right? The same thing, suppose if you have your data in a database, then how to pick the data and how to give it to that application. Suppose sometimes client will say that, so it's not every time, so maybe so 15 to 20% of chances are there. So most of the time the client will give you the data in a Excel file. So but sometimes if they tell that, so we have a data in our database, then how to pull the data from the database and how to give it to the collection. Here our BluePrism, it has been configured with SqlServer database. SqlServer database. So if you observe when we install, so we have installed database first. On the top of SqlServer database we have installed BluePrism, right? Everything whatever we are doing, it is going to save in database. Here if you want to work with your database, we have a VBO called Data SQL Server. This is your VBO, Visual Business Object, for work with a database. Data SQL Server, we need to import this, then we can able to work with this database. And when you are working with this Data SQL Server, so most of the time what we are going to do is we are going to pull the data from Excel file and we will give it to the collection. That's it. That is the thing what you are going to do as a BluePrism developer. You are going to pull the data from database tables and then we will going to give the data to collection. And remember, as a BluePrism developer, you will not have any write access on your database. You will not have write access. We are not a database developers, right? We will have, always we will have read access. Always we will have read access on the database. Now if you want to work with database, we need a username and password generally, right? We need to connect to the database and we need to pick the data from the tables. So if you have any idea on the database, so what are the commands we are going to use on the database, like DDL commands and DML commands, right? These are the two main commands which we are going to use very frequently. So in interviews, if you say that yes, we have a experience on working with a database, so they will ask some questions like, so what are the DDL commands, what are the DML commands, what it means by commit, how we are going to give a query to your BluePrism, right? So we'll discuss those things. DML, DDL commands, data definition language, like create, alter and drop. These are your DDL commands. To easily remember, I will tell you one thing, so then you can able to remember these commands easily. So what are the DDL commands, what are the DML commands, what will comes to DDL, what will comes to DML. DML, insert, update and delete. Same way, DRL, data retrieval language, this is for select. And TCL, transaction control language, like commit, rollback. These are the commands most of the time we are going to use on the database. DDL, create, alter, update definition language. Remember, any command which is impacting on structure of the table, observe this, impacting on structure of table, then we will call it as a DDL command. For example, when we are creating, so we need to create something. It means the create new table is creating. Altering, if you have only four columns, we are adding one more column, that is alter, right? It is changing the structure of the table. And drop, we are removing the complete table, that is drop. When the command is impacting on structure of the table, we'll call it as a DDL. If the command is not impacting on the structure of the table, it is impacting on the inside data. Inside data, then we will call it as a DML command, data manipulation language. So this insert, we are inserting data inside the table. We are going to insert data, right? Here update. For example, one person salary is 100 or 1000. We are updating that salary to 10,000. Then it is impacting on the data, right? And delete. We are deleting the records inside the table. It is not impacting any structure. So DML command. And select. If you want to retrieve any data from a table, we have to use select command. And commit. Commit is nothing but a save, and rollback is nothing but undo option. And one more thing, remember here, we have to use commit will work, sorry, rollback will work before commit. It means once you saved, for example, when you are working on any Word document, once you saved, your undo option will not work, right? Your undo will not work. It means, so once it is saved, it's not possible to use Control Z, right? So if you are doing something without using Control S, so without saving, you can use Control Z. Control Z will work, right? The same concept here. Commit and roll back. So whenever you are using commit, so it is going to save. Rollback means before saving whatever the things you have done, it will roll back. So that's the thing. So commit and roll back. So now we'll see how to connect with this one BluePrism database and how to work with that. So here, so if you want to work with this BluePrism database, so we have to install SQL Management Studio. See this one, right? Just click on that. And one more thing, when you are using generally commands, so SQL commands, how we are going to use select star from table name. So like this we are going to use, every command should be end with semicolon, right? We are going to use the command like this. But remember, if anyone asks in interview, so can you tell me the format of your SQL command when you are giving it to BluePrism? Don't tell in this format. It should be in this format. I will show you. So why we need to give in this format. Select star from schema name or database name. Database name dot DBO dot table name. You have to give in this format. Database name dot DBO dot table name. So you have to give in this format. So don't tell this format because BluePrism will not allow this format. So if you give like this, BluePrism can't able to understand from which database I need to pick the data. DBO is, so it's a syntax for database objects in your SqlServer. SqlServer DBO means database object. Everything it will consider as a objects. Okay, I will show you here. Here, don't require any username and password. So when we install, we didn't given any username and password. We given it to Windows authentication, so it's not required. Okay. But when you are working in organization, so we need, if you want to connect with the database, we need a username and password. Then only we can able to connect. Otherwise, it's not possible. Now, observe this here. See this BluePrism database. This is the system databases. So we have system databases, all these things, and then this is your BluePrism database. If you want to see how many tables it's available here, just expand the table. See this, all our BluePrism internal tables, whatever the thing we are doing, everything will be saved in this database. Observe this. Credentials. We have a credentials, right? Whatever the credentials we created, you can able to see it here. And then, so like process, everything into a package, whatever the package we created, and then so process. See this BPA process, everything. For example, let me show you something here. Select start from. So how you will give the command? So we are going to use select star from. Table name is, so this one, BPA process, right? Let me give in same format, BPA process and semicolon. Observe this. When I execute like this, what it says, BPA process is not available. It's saying that BPA process is not available. See this because here we connected with this database. So we need to connect with this database, BluePrism database. Then if you run this, observe this one, it is showing the complete details in this table. How many processes we created till now in this machine. P is process, O is object, right? And then what is the process name, and then what is the description, and then version, when it is has been created, right? Created by who, when it has been last modified. See this process XML, and everything it is available in our database, right? The same way, so if you want to so observe about credentials, what are the credentials we created? See this BPA credentials, right? So here we connected with BluePrism, right? So instead of that, so if you like, if you are there in a master, and then even though if you want to see, so if you want to see the result, then observe this, select start from, schema name or database name, BluePrism dot table name, this one, right? Observe this, execute this. See this, now we are in some other table, but still we can able to, some other database still we can able to so access, because we have given in a proper format, database name dot or schema name dot DBO dot table name. So this whatever the credentials we created, so these credentials you can able to see it here, credential name and then credential ID and then so password and then expiry. So what are the expiry we have given like this, everything we created here, everything it will be scheduled, and then credential, environment variables, everything it will be so available so here. And then what are the user roles we have, everything whatever we are doing, so blindly it will come to database. Okay, suppose now, so these are the details right here. For example, so this one, so BPA process, if you observe, copy this one, will be BPA process. I will give the same thing. Execute this. Now here, so we have this information. So now our requirement is, we need to pull the data from this database and we need to give it to our collection. Once you get the data into the collection, then we can do whatever we want. Let's assume that the client said that, so we need to pay all the customer details who didn't pay their credit card bill in this particular month. And then for them we need to send a warning message, and then the list of the like unpaid customers we need to send it to so all the so bank managers, respective bank managers, right, or respective team. So this is our requirement. Then we need to pull the data from the database. So client say that my data is available in database. You can pull the data from there and we can able to so process the things, right? Then we have to pull. So like for example, so payment flag equal to no. That means they did not pay their credit card bill. So they will pick the things. And here, if you want to pick any specific things, we are going to use where condition, we'll call it as a where class. We will use where condition. For example, from this table we need to pick so only who is having salary greater than 10,000. Then you have to give like this condition, where salary greater than 10,000. Or if you want to pick only so managers name from that particular table, then so designation equal to manager, it will be like that. So based on the condition we can able to pick the data. So if you want any specific condition, if you want to so filter any records, we are going to use where class or where condition, we will call it as a. Okay, so now the same thing we will see it here. So our requirement is from this process we need to pick process type. See this process type, process name, process type and process name, and then so let's take it as a version. So these things we required from this table. Then what we are going to do, if you want to any specific selected columns, then instead of star, here we have star, right? Star means all. It means select all the columns from the table name. That's the meaning of star. Instead of star we can give process type, process type, comma, name, comma, and then version. Only these things we required from the table. Now observe this, it is giving only this information, all the process and objects information, how many process and objects we have created. But we don't want everything, we don't want process, we want only objects. Then what we have to do, we have to give where process type, process type equal to O. So then it is going to pick only the process which is available as a O. It means only objects. Observe this, process type equal to O. Only these things it is going to pick. Now our requirement is we need to pick these things and we need to give it to collection. That is our requirement. What we have to do for this. So generally in real time you will not going to so have so access so this database. Okay, so they will tell so what is the table name, and then what will be the schema name, and what will be the username and password. So you have to use data SQL server so to connect with database, data SQL server, data SQL server VBO. Okay, sometimes in interviews if they ask, for example, my database is not SQL server, my database is some other thing like Oracle or Teradata, whatever it may be, then so how to pull the data from databases. If they ask, tell them OLEDB. We have another option called OLEDB linking. So this is another VBO to work with any other databases other than SQL Server. But most of the time, so no, so 100% of them show that so every client they are going to use SQL Server database when they are using BluePrism, because when they purchase a BluePrism license, automatically they will get free so license for so this database also. So no need to purchase some other license. So obviously, so they will go for SQL Server database. If they ask in interviews, I don't want to connect with database, I have to pull the data from some other database, means OLEDB. OLEDB VBO is there. Okay, I will show you. So which VBO we need to import and then how to work with that. Okay. And one more thing, when we are working with database, so we need to know so what is the server name, and then what will be the username and password. Generally server name and then database name, you'll see that. So what are the things it is required. Now come to this BluePrism and come to file option, file, import, come to browser. Observe this, VBO and OLEDB and data SQL Server. Observe this. These are the two VBOs it's available. So OLEDB for other than database. So SQL Server is for your SQL Server database by default configuration. SQL Server. Now click on this and then click open and then import this one. Once it is imported, then we can able to work with that data SQL Server OLEDB. So now we'll see how to work with this database. We'll create a process to work with database server. Now double click on this database. Now we need to work with a action. Double click and your object name is data SQL Server. And observe this first. What we need to do is we need to set connection information. We need to set connection information first. If you want to connect to the database, we need to know the connection information, right? Observe this. What are the details it is asking? Server and then database name, username and password. Here we don't require username and password because we have given it to Windows authentication. But in real time, you need to, when you are working in an organization, you need to give username and password. So this username and password you will get it from your database developers or database team. Okay, if you ask them, so we are going to connect to the database, so then they will give you this information, or admin will give you the information. So what is the username and what will be the password? And so how to know? So what is the server name and what is the database name? So where we will get these details? Okay, if you go here, observe this BluePrism. Double click on BluePrism icon. You have click on configure. Click on configure. Observe the database server. See this. This is your server details and this is your database name. This is the server details and this is your database name. So pick the same thing. Close this one. So now we need to give server details. This is our server details and then database name. This is our database name. Here no need of username and password because it's Windows authentication. So once you click on this, then automatically it is going to connect to your database. BluePrism will access your SQL Server database by using this action set connection. Okay, so once you given the connection information, then what we are going to do? We are going to pull the data from the database tables and then we have to give it to collection. So that is our most of the requirements. Now how to do that? Just double click on this, come to here, use data SQL Server and then observe this get collection. What it is asking? Input, see this SQL. It is asking SQL and then output you are going to store it in a result in a collection. Now we will give this SQL. So the same SQL, so which we have here, the same thing we will copy and give this SQL here. And then output, we need to store it in a collection, in a result. Now if you run this, it will pick the data from the database and then it will give it to this particular collection. We'll see that. So now we are running this one. This action is get collection. Get to collection. Reset and run this. It has to pick all the data and it has to give it to collection from that particular table. Right. Now observe the information here. In the collection data, how many records we have? Around 35, right? It has picked all the objects information from our BluePrism. See this? All the objects information. What are the things? What are the columns we required? Process type, name, and then version. Only these things we have taken, right? Okay. So these are the thing what you are going to do most of the time. 99.99% of the time you are going to pull the data from the database tables, and then you are going to give it to the collection. That's it. You are not going to do anything other than this. You will not have, because you will not have write access, you will have only read access. And one more thing here, so we discussed these commands, right? DDL and DML commands. If you want to perform any DDL and DML commands, must and should you need a write access to perform DDL and DML commands. And if you will have read access, you can able to perform DRL. It means data retrieval language. You can able to use select. It means you can pick the data from the database and you can able to read, but it's not possible to write something. It's not possible to create something. Okay, sometimes assume that you have a access, and you, whatever the tags you calculated through the process, you need to update into that particular table data, or you need to insert that. Then we can able to do that, but you need database developer access, write access, and the same time, so you need to write a command. So it will be like that. I will see that. And other than this, pulling the data from the database and giving it to the collection, other than this, what are the things we can able to perform by using data SQL Server? We can get data and we can give it to CSV files. We can give all the data to CSV files. Why CSV files here? Why not Excel files? Most of the time, if you observe, when you are pulling the data from tool or when you are working with any tool, so most of the data, so it will be imported or it will be exported in the form of, generally it will be in the CSV file format. So what is the difference between CSV and Excel files? Excel files, we have some limitations. So if you process, so for example, so if you load, if you try to insert 70,000 records, more than 70,000 records or more than 80,000 records, so Excel file will stuck. There is some limitation, so it will take so huge memory in your system, so it will stuck. But when it is coming to the CSV file, so it will consider as a comma separated values. It also looks like a CSV only, but this file, it will support so more than 2 lakhs and more than 3 lakhs records also. That's why, so most of the time when you are using any tools, so we will have an option of CSV files, so not your Excel files. You will see that we can pull the data into CSV file. This is the one option what you can able to perform by data SQL Server. Another thing is you can able to write the information. It means you can perform DDL or DML commands by using execute action in your data SQL Server. We have an option called execute. By using that execute option, we can perform DDL and DML. But remember, if you want to perform DDL or DML, must and should, you should have write access. Then only we can able to perform that. We will see that. Assume that the same thing, whatever the data it came to this collection, the same thing we need to send it to your CSV file. Use again another action. Double click CSV file, business object name, data, SQL Server. See this CSV file, and then it is asking SQL. Give me that SQL. So which SQL you want to use it here? The same SQL we will use, and so it is asking give me the file path. If you give the file path, it is going to create a CSV file in that particular path. Go to D. So let me copy any path, copy as a path, come to this. Here we will use, instead of this, db dot csv file format, database data, db data dot csv file format. We will see that. So now we have given a path. Click OK. That's it. Now give the link and then give it to end. Reset. Run this. Okay. So now go to desktop. Observe this data db underscore data dot csv. It will be in the CSV file format. If you try to open this, observe the one. It's also look like a same, right? It's an Excel file. It looks like so, but it will be in the extension of CSV format. I will show you. Right click. This see this. This one is your Excel file. This one is your CSV file, comma separated values. Right click. Properties. Observe this dot CSV. Right? Dot CSV file format in your. That's the only one difference what you have. And then so this one will be so dot Excel SX. It will be in the format of dot Excel SX. See this dot Excel SX. Right? So because of due to some limitations in Excel file, so we will use CSV file. And other than this, what you can able to perform. For example, assume that you have done some changes here. You have calculated something, or you need to update some data in a database table. Here, so whatever the data we have here, let's take anything. Name. Okay, let's take this name. Drop down. We have an option called drop down, right? So this is in so small letters, right? So drop down P something, right? We need to so change this into caps letter. That is our requirement. We are updating something inside the database. Then so we have to write update comments. The same way we can insert the data into the database, and we can delete the data into the database also, but you need write access, then only we can able to perform. Okay, so here, so now we'll see how to write a command. Update table name, set name equal to drop down. So like this we are trying to give, where name equal to, so what was this, drop down P, right? So this is your command. So if you execute this here, then it will update, but we are not executing through this database. We are going to execute this by using our BluePrism. We'll see that how to implement this. Now come to action, give CSV, double click on this. Now come to business object, data, SqlServer, and if you observe, see this here, so we have a execute option, right? Execute, and then it is asking command. Here we will give the command, and then it is going to execute it in your database. If you observe output, you will have an option called success and message. It will give you the command has been successfully executed or not. If you have any so warning message like command is not executed properly, then it will give you the message. So that's why we will use this success and message for so understanding that command is executed or not. Okay, so if you want, you can so use this output, otherwise it's not required. Okay, And so this command, when you run this update command will execute on the database. We will see that now. So how it is going to perform. And so it has to change this name. Now if you run this, what is the name of that one? So in a, sorry, this one, right? So drop down in small, right? Now come to this one, reset. It's showing some error. Valid expression. Okay. It should be in double quotes. Okay. Now click OK. Okay. Now run this one. See this? Success. True. It means the command has been executed properly. So if you have any issue, then it will show you a message. What was the issue with that command? Okay. Now go to this one. If you want to cross check whether it has been executed properly, again we will run this one. Observe this. The name has been changed into caps, right? Like this we can able to delete, or we can able to insert, or we can able to create also. Whatever you want, you can able to perform, like DDL and DML, both the things. But remember, must and should, we should have developer access or write access on the database, then only we can able to perform. And at the same time, we have an option called commit and rollback also. If you want to, so commit, you use commit sometimes when they configure database. So by default SQL Server will be auto commit, no need to use commit. Sometimes when they configure, so they will say that it's not auto commit, we did not give any auto commit permission, we have to use commit. So then, so we'll have an option called here itself. If you observe, see this, you will have an option called rollback transaction, commit transaction. So this one we will use to save and undo options, commit and rollback. So these are the things we are going to. So is it in a database? Most of the time what you are going to do is you are going to pull the data from database, and then you are going to use this get collection, and then you are going to give the query, select query. This query, it is going to pick the data from database, and then it will give it to your collections. Once you get the data into the collection, after that you can do whatever you want, right? So we can give it to collection, we can save this collection data into Excel file, or we can save this collection, we can give this collection data to your application, whatever it may be, right? Okay. So here things we discuss, a very important thing. So if you like, if you said that in interview, yes, I have worked with a database, then so there is a chances of asking this small so questions like what are the DDL commands you have, what are the DML commands you have, and most important thing is they will ask, tell me the query format, how you are going to give it to your database. Remember this one, it's an added advantage. So if you keep your so things, database things in your so resume, because most of the so guys, okay, they will never get a chance to work on the database. So if you keep these points, it will be added to the for you. So you have to give, tell them, so like, so select star from schema name or database name dot dbo name dot table name, dbo dot table name. In this format you have to give it to BluePrism, then only BluePrism will understand. If you want to work with database, what is the VBO? Data SQL Server, Data SQL Server. If other than that any other SQL Server database, then we have to go for this OLEDB VBO to connect with any other database. The same process will be there, any other so database. Okay. So these are about the database, how to work with a database. Okay, so next we are going to discuss about, in next classes we are going to discuss about queues. Don't miss those things, that is very important. So most of the interviews, and then most of the any validations, we are going to use queues. So that is very important in a queues. So it queues itself, it will take another 3 classes. After that we are going to discuss about some surface automation, and then drop down list. After that we will discuss about project. After that we will discuss about documentation in your any organization. What are the documentations we are going to follow. So it will take another seems really, 5 to 6 classes we will see that. Okay, we will try to wind up the things in 5 to 6 classes. So any questions here, in this one?